Hey, happy Monday. How you doing? Happy Monday is not an oxymoron, not around here. And the weather's looking pretty good. I mean, depending on where you are. We still have heat today in Texas, parts of Oklahoma into Louisiana with that heat advisory. And the bullseye in the purple excessive heat warning. So be warned, the heat will be excessive. Also goes for you in the Phoenix area, for in Arizona, and then of course along the Colorado River in California. Also some excessive heat, so that probably goes into the Central Valleys there. Talking about El Centro down in Southern California. All right, up into Nevada, some heat. I'm sorry, that's some wind, red flag warning, and then parts of Idaho, red flag warning as well. Maybe I need another cup of coffee. All right, I'm still waking up apparently. Here's your severe weather for today. Best chances of that would be eastern Colorado, but maybe some stronger storms through the northern Rockies into the northern plains, the western northern plains, back down towards Salt Lake City into Utah. Uh, Maybe some strong storms for you, Louisiana, northern Florida, and mid Atlantic up into New England, the Northeast. Here's why on our surface map. We have that low that moved through the Great Lakes over the weekend is now in the Northeast, and so that's where we see our heaviest rain with chance of some flooding even for Vermont, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Connecticut, perhaps into Rhode Island. We'll see. And then that cold front, cool front. Yeah, it's kind of. Well, I'll show you the temperatures. It is pretty cool for this time of year, Great Lakes and in the Northeast. But anyway, that cold front moving through the Mid-Atlantic into the Southeast, cooler temperatures behind it, showers and storms along and ahead of it, and then that stationary front along the eastern slopes of the Rockies with scattered showers and storms for the central and northern plains into the Rockies and Four Corners. A little bit of rain for you for western Washington. Highs today, well, quite high. We're in the desert southwest through the south central U.S. That's where our hundreds plus are, approaching 110 for Phoenix. I think that's 108, if I can see that right this morning. As you get into the southeast, though, a little cooler, 90s, mid 90s, and then even low 90s as you head further north into northern Mississippi, northern Alabama. And then we start to see some 80s for Tennessee into Kentucky, and all the way up into Ohio. We transition into the 70s, 60s for parts of Pennsylvania and New York. Very nice indeed. And those 70s centered around Michigan into Wisconsin, into Minnesota, and then warming up as you head further west into the plains. That's where we see some 70s for like eastern Iowa, but 80s for western Iowa. And then even hotter as you head further to the east along the eastern slopes of the Rockies. Those high temperatures in the low to mid 90s in Montana and also, say Colorado. Then you get further west on the other side of the Rockies, a little bit cooler on the air. So the low temperatures tomorrow morning will show you be quite cool in that drier air, but also dry air warms quickly too. So we're still seeing some 90s parts of Idaho into Nevada, but pleasant enough on the east side of the west side of the Cascades, 70s for Western Oregon and Washington, and then those 80s and 90s through the central California area, and then cooler, of course, along the coast. The surface for tomorrow. Our front makes a little bit more progress through the southeast, so we'll be a little bit cooler here. Our chance of showers and storms moves a little further south as well there, but still some showers along the Gulf Coast, along the mid-Atlantic and for Florida, and then lingering showers up there in the Northeast. Showers and storms expanding into the northern plains a little bit more, still around the Four Corners, and more steadier rain for Oregon and Washington. Lows tomorrow morning, look at this. 40s and 50s up there in New York State, 50s for Pennsylvania, and those 50s and 60s extending into, say, Maine, down into Massachusetts, upper 50s for lows. And then, of course, that gets warmer as you get further south, but also around Michigan and Wisconsin, lows in the 40s and low 50s. A little bit of a taste of early fall here. I mean, we're not talking freezing temperatures yet, but that is refreshingly cool. And then widespread 50s into the Midwest. 60s as you transition further to the west in the northern plains and down into Kansas. That turns into 70s for lows as you get into Oklahoma, Texas, even some 80s for lows. Louisiana, quite warm to start the day. And then further east in that drier air east of the Rockies, lows mainly in the 50s here, but some 40s on this map as well, like Baker, Oregon, central Nevada. So quite cool to start the day for many parts of the country tomorrow morning. Of course, heat continues for the desert Southwest and for the South Central U.S. And that will continue tomorrow afternoon as well. That's where again, 110 for Phoenix is quite hot. And, low 100s to approaching 105, 106 there for San Antonio. So hot stuff in Texas still, but cooling off a little bit for Louisiana, mid 90s. Low to mid 90s for Oklahoma, even at 80s as you get up towards Tulsa. And where that cold front has been moving through the southeast, we see a lot more, say, 80s for northern Mississippi, northern Alabama, northern Georgia. And then we do see some 90s as we head closer to the Gulf Coast and even into Florida. Further north though, still quite pleasant for places like Pennsylvania, New York State, into the Northeast. And not too bad still around the Great Lakes, a lot of 70s approaching 80. And then warmer as you head west into the plains and along the east slope of the Rockies. We still have mid 90s for Denver and Colorado Springs and, up into even eastern Montana, some 90s there. Here's your 48 hour, 2 days of rainfall here. And some of the heaviest rain up there in the Olympic Peninsula for Washington. That's a rainforest for a reason there. And so we could see some of our heaviest rain there in western Washington. Then you get into the northern plains. Could see some pretty decent rainfall amounts, approaching like 1.5 inches for some. Eastern Colorado too. Down in Florida, widespread 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch, in some places a little bit more than that. Mid-Atlantic too. And then up into the northeast, we see some of our heavier rains for, say, New Hampshire into Maine especially. Looking ahead to Wednesday real quick, we do see our best chance for severe weather on this map would be Montana, North Dakota, up there in the northern plains. Some scattered showers in parts of the northern plains into the Midwest, because Iowa's the Midwest. Four Corners still with our chance of showers there. Also showers for the Pacific Northwest. Our stationary front now for the Northeast. So scattered showers from East Texas all the way through Florida and up to the coastal areas of South Carolina and North Carolina. And then as we get into the Northeast, some scattered showers there. All right, let's take a look at the European model now. We'll go through maybe Thursday here as we take a look and see what's going on. Starting this morning, we do see area of showers and storms from, say, Nashville, North Carolina, up through West Virginia, parts of Kentucky here too, into Pennsylvania, New York State, and parts of the Northeast. That's where most of our rain is this morning. We'll start to see that increase a little bit in Florida as we go through the day, and heavier showers and storms as we get, this is around noontime, East Coast, early afternoon, then mid-afternoon, then late afternoon, and into the evening. A little bit of a disturbance moving here through the northern plains, so maybe parts of South Dakota getting some pretty good rains here. That's moving into Nebraska a little bit as well, expanding into Nebraska. Our showers and storms kind of moving off the coast here on the east, and so our central and northern plains showers and storms kind of the main player as we get to tomorrow morning, and a little bit of rain here in western Washington. As we go through the day tomorrow, we do see our showers still here, South Dakota, Nebraska. This would be tomorrow, getting into the evening hours now. Some lingering showers up here for parts of the Northeast into Quebec, and some showers still for western Washington, but pretty quiet really for much of the country. As we get to midnight Tuesday into Wednesday morning, we do see some showers and storms along the Missouri River for Nebraska, Iowa. I live right here, so maybe we'll see a little bit of rain. That would be nice. I mean, it's been a wonderful summer here. I think we're just going to have a great corn crop. Uh, we've had rain, it seems like, almost every week. We really haven't had a chance to dry out. And so just keeping those crops watered, it's been really great. Then as we go through, where are we here? So Wednesday, 15Z. So this is Wednesday morning. Some lingering showers here, western Iowa, eastern Nebraska. Those fade out. Some lingering showers in the northeast, some showers in the northwest, and not much else happening as we get into the day on Wednesday night. So this is late Wednesday night. We saw a few showers up here in the northern plains, a few lingering showers northeast, and some rain along western Washington, northwestern Oregon. And then we see some showers and storms for North Dakota as we get into Thursday morning. And that moves into South Dakota, North Dakota as we get into Thursday later in the day. And then that starts to fall apart as it approaches southern Minnesota into Iowa. So that's kind of what's going on. Fairly quiet, but a few areas of showers and storms. Now let's take a look at our 6 to 10 day trends for temperatures. And where it was cool in the Great Lakes, we're going to see some of that heat coming back in. So warming back up for the Midwest, and still hot through the center part of the country. A little warmer for the East Coast than it has been for the last week or two. And cooling off, as we've seen for the West Coast, and that moves a little further inland. So the bullseye for the coolest weather, or the best chances for cooler than average weather, we're looking at Idaho, Utah, Nevada, kind of in the Intermountain West into the northern Rockies. And for precipitation, this map kind of reflects that as well, drying out for the Ohio Valley, Tennessee Valley, the Midwest, and the East Coast. The wetter areas would be Northwest especially, Northern Rockies, and then along the Gulf Coast. So that should get you started weather-wise on a Monday and for the next few days. But of course, we will keep you posted as we go. Thanks for tuning in, the Weather Mike.